As the extinguished as creatures coming out to play, in the twilight of creation, human faces intelligent and suffering, turned upward entering the trees, the charismatic megafauna. Polar bears, moose, rippling massive flanks to shake loose biting flies. The fox and the vixen, the leopard dazzling in his camouflage, breaking the urgent glass in the underlayer of humus and moss in the broken clay. The cryptograms, the earthworms turning between the wizardly fingers of the forest, managed to grow. Of the second order, the third steered toward what shoal? A history for the benefit of imaginary extrinsic persons. And the branches, snowy owls and ravens, or the rock pigeons we call, pigeons that can't perch in trees, that swarm cities like the flying rats they are, hungry, iridescent at the neck like the rats themselves, shining like a collar at the base of a public sculpture, monument to the fundamental flight through the corridors of power, mathematics, heat, death, rippling like an invisible wave down State Street, paralleling Michigan, pushed by the restless concatenations of the L, cutting longitudes across the lake itself, desert of water, meeting the migrations of alien carp and cosmic rays, diving deep for the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, or swimming invisible lines, boundaries, policed by radar from Canada, a mass of air launched by minute variations, and the temperature, push and pull over heat, islands' carbon dioxide absorption, ozone exhaustion, invisible and intervening like God, that which manifests through its actions on substance, not itself substance, weak forces, atmospheres, unnamed, unmet animal species, gone extinct, whole genuses, phyla, unknowable kingdoms and principalities, coral reefs burned black like the crouched and burned angels, muscular sketches of our vacancy, as in an etching of by Blake horizontal, the spiritual body, dividing like a hyphen, the upper from the lower, phatic messenger of betweenness, inhuman round eyes fixed on nothing, on suffering, folly, sporting events on Gaza, wings outstretched to bandage the eyes of heaven, our eyes, as they would bandage the wound of a headless child, or conceal the strength of a people. From their weakness, the mortals masquerading as their own fates, individuals slashed open by solitude, acts of mourning and revenge, writing themselves into the text of righteousness. The messengers reveal nothing, like the animals marching slowly toward me, now 2 by 2, tongues lolling, eyes lit from within, hollow and sparkling, as a cave concealed from light from 30,000 years, but concealed no longer. Grace have I none, but what can be inferred by arms opening, palms, head tilting back to catch rain in my jaws. What is born now? What rests its way out of the internal feminine, the body, my only warrant against monuments, my pledge to the immaculate moment? What is born is not of me, or the we, of God or animals. It is a wing. It is bleeding, it masks my eyes until the thunder comes to open the openness all over all.
So I'm going to be analyzing Animals by Joshua Corey using the soapstone method. The speaker is a male, which we can see because his name is Joshua, probably educated because of his word skills, writing skills. His voice is the one telling the story. The occasion, the speaker is observing animals. He's most likely in a forest because at the end of the poem he says that animals march slowly towards me now, so we can assume that he's somewhere outdoors contemplating all these things about animals. Well, maybe animals are coming towards him. The audience, there's no specified audience here. The purpose, the author really just wants to emphasize the characteristics of animals, how interesting and beautiful and mesmerizing they are. He portrays them as deeply complex and influential to humans, and even compares them to humans at the end of the poem, as he says he starts seeming like he has wings. the subject. Animals are the subject. He mentions many animals, including polar bears, fox, vixen, worms, rats, pigeons. Pigeons are a big part of this poem. At the very end, he starts talking about wings, which he says it is a wing, so I think that's all influenced by pigeons. And the tone is sophisticated but thoughtful. The author uses strong diction to express his admiration of these animals and to create imagery. So this descriptive diction really helps create a picture in your mind because it's so descriptive. He uses charismatic, megafauna, dazzling, camouflage, urgent glass, wizardly fingers, snowy owls, restless connotations, cosmic rays, muscular sketches of our vacancy, phatic messenger of betweenness, inhuman round eyes fixed on nothing. So these words really just help create an image of what he is seeing, what he is talking about. And he also uses many similes. Around here he starts using similes a lot. Pigeons that can't perch in trees, that swarm cities like the flying rats that they are, hungry, iridescent at the neck like the rats themselves, shining like a collar, heat death rippling like an invisible wave, ozone exhaustion invisible and intervening like a god that manifests, coral reefs burn black like the crouched and burned angels, dividing like a hyphen from the upper from the lower. So these similes also help describe things by comparing them to other things that are descriptive so that we can just get a picture of this in our heads. Yeah.